So my name's Allie. Sorry for the trauma we all caused you. I've known Becca for a long time, and we've had a lot of firsts together. That's probably the first time we've actually sung together and never broke any windows. So, but Becca and I have known each other a long time. We have had a lot of firsts together. Growing up across the street, I mean, we grew up together. We did everything together. We had our first sleepover together, and that was, you know, we got all excited, talking at night, like, oh, let's make popcorn, and we're gonna stay up all night, and then I fell asleep mid-sentence while we were talking about it. That's kind of how that went, our first sleepover. You know, when I was with Becca, it was the first time I ever tried to be a naturalist, as we ran down the street collecting caterpillars to save them from their near destruction of getting run over by cars. We'd come home with huge buckets of caterpillars.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then one of our first Halloweens, when we go into the basement and stick our hands in cold spaghetti blindfolded, and we just sit there, and it was light as a feather, stiff as a board. Like with a Ouija board. I don't know, it's one of those kids' things. But, you know, and you were also playing, we also had our first sticker collection together. Remember the scratch and sniff? Scratch and sniff stickers on your door? They're all over Steffi's door. So growing up together, we did have a lot of firsts together. It was the first time I ever knew milk was supposed to be put in cereal. I always thought Fruit Loops were supposed to be eaten dry. And yeah, thank you. You know, and Becca, actually, I went to my first concert with Becca. It was at the Worcester Centrum, and we saw Whitney Houston. That was our first concert. So Becca, I think it's safe to say we're doing better than Whitney right now. You know, and Becca and I had our first big adventures together. You know, we'd get up a huge head of steam, you know, riding down Pauline Drive to get up to the top of Stevens Circle. It was this huge hill. You couldn't bike up it. We'd finally get to the top, and you'd have to scale this cliff to get up onto the path to go to Tilly's, and then bushwhack through the forest, through gnats and mosquitoes. And there were people who were going to kidnap us and kill us. I mean, it was like major danger stuff. And we'd get to Tilly's for our free pretzel, so free pretzel, so we could flirt with the guy Ricky there, who was our first crush. So, you know, and actually, you know, what's interesting is we drove up there today, and it's really like 2 rocks, and it's a perfectly trimmed path to Tilly's, as it turns out. So, you know, and also some of our firsts were, I think my first major bash was there. It was the first time my parents, Jerry and Susie, entrusted my parents with your daughter's well-being, and you said, Tom and Babs, can you please take care of Rebecca for the weekend? She's our 16-year-old daughter, and we need her supervised. And Mom and Dad said, sure, no problem, go away. And you know, about 3 hours later, my parents were like, see ya, we're going to New Hampshire. So we live across the street from each other, right? And so obviously, huge party ensued, street party, etc. So it was the first time I got a call from Jerry saying, sir, are you going to pay me that $130 for the screen door? Right. And what about the bottle of Jack Daniels? And what happened to all those cans of whipped cream? Oh. Whippets, Jerry. Whippets. You know what Becca was also my first visitor in college. When I was in college, she was my first visitor to college in Colorado. And that was the first time I ever won the drinking game, commonly referred to as asshole. And it's a drinking game, not a game we play together, so thank you for that. And, you know, today I had my first pedicure. And I actually thought that was like a thing you did with the veterinarian, like a pedicure. So, you know, but as we move forward, Becca, tomorrow is a first for me too. You're my first sister to be married, because you are my blood. I love you. It is something amazing to love someone and watch them fall in love and be in love. And you have always been so beautiful, but now you're just radiant. So Pat and Becca, thank you for loving each other, and cheers to you both. Cheers.